What's up everybody, welcome back to Sierra Visuals. As you can see, I am in the studio again, but not the same studio. I actually recently, as of last week, built a studio inside my room. So here's the other side of what you guys can't see. I have the new Asus ProArt monitor so that I have the most accurate colors while editing, while video editing and everything. I have the MacBook Pro here powering everything up. I have my adapter so that I can connect this to my ProArt display. I have my PlayStation 4 here so that when I'm not editing, I will be playing video games. And of course, my camera and my light. And the topic of today's video, I'm going to be going into Lightroom and showing you guys how to edit one photo 5 different ways. So these 5 photos will be using my Lightroom presets that you can purchase on my website, link in the description below. I am currently developing a second preset pack for you guys to purchase. Details on that later. In the photo that I'll be showcasing today, I did take this on a photo shoot from last week with a model I've worked with plenty of times, Emerson, link in the description below as well to his Instagram account. Backstory on this shoot. We were shooting in downtown DeLand and we actually went inside one of the courthouses over there. There was no one in the front desk, so we just walked in and there was this really cool stairway with a nice sculpture on top, and that's where we shot. So as you can see in the photo, this is the courthouse I was talking about with the sculpture in the back, and we were all the way on the top of the stairs. And again, like I mentioned earlier, we will be using my Lightroom presets that are listed over here. Before I start, I just want to show you guys Sierra Visuals merch is coming soon. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get it mass printed so I can be able to start selling them. So if you guys want some Sierra Visuals merch, shirts, hats, mugs, whatever you want, comment down below. Let me know if that's something you guys would like. All right, so let's get started. I know this happens to many people because I hope I'm not the only one that does this, but when editing a photo, it's hard to just choose one specific edit for that one photo. You might interpret it in different ways. Maybe you want it black and white, but you also like it in color. I know that happens to me all the time, so when I'm sending my clients their photos, I usually send them multiple versions of the same photo. So again, like one in black and white, one in color, one in super exaggerated color, just so that it gives them variety. So this is what this video is about, just showing you one photo interpreted 5 different ways. So with the first edit, I'm going to use Blaze. If you haven't seen my previous video about my Lightroom presets, check that out. I talk about each preset in depth. Again, Blaze is basically a one-click preset. You don't really got to do any touches on here, but if I were to make slight adjustments, I just bump up the exposure just a little bit, tone down your shadow so it gives it a very eerie feel, and your highlights tone down just a little bit so that they're not blown out. And you always want to create an S curve over here. So let's curve this up and curve this part down. And it gives you just a good basis on each photo. And that's Blaze. The warm tones, the eerie feel, feels very dark and mysterious. That's your first edit. For the second edit, we are going to be using Bliss. And Bliss is a little bit different because it's not like Blaze where it's a one-click preset. Bliss, you're gonna have to do some adjustments with. My first adjustment is going to be exposure, just because it's so dark. So we're gonna bump up exposure. You see how his face is blowing up. So we're going to lower it just a little bit and tone down your highlights so that you don't get any blown out parts of the image. Let's bump up your shadows. And the difference between Blaze and Bliss is Bliss enhances your teals and your blue colors. So this will be personal preference. I prefer Blaze, but in some instances, Bliss is the best. Again, you want to make that S curve on your tone curve over here. So just bring the bottoms down, the tops up. In the middle, you want to leave normal. So as you can see, saturation on blue is all the way up for the most part, and the luminance is down, which will enhance that color as well. And to enhance Emerson's skin tone, I'm going to drag the orange luminance tool up just a tad bit and lower the saturation. And that is Bliss. Third edit we are going to do is Rogue. Rogue is definitely one of my favorites. It gives you that nice 90s Vogue feel. Very editorial, very rustic. I just love the overall feel of this preset. So we apply it on the image. All right, so my first adjustment will be exposure, just so that we can get detail in the background. As you can see, his face is blown out again, so I will tone down the highlights just to retain the detail in his face. Shadows are gonna go up so we can get more background. Highlights will go down just a tad bit more. We're gonna tone down the blacks, just crush those blacks so it makes it look really cool. The contrast I'm not really gonna touch, and whites I will bring up a little bit. And the curve is basically already in an S, so I don't have to touch that. And in your black and white mix, this is pretty cool because I figured this out a couple of weeks ago. You can change each individual color, red, orange, yellow, green, etc., in the black and white tones. So if there's a red color in the original photo, you can change it. And obviously it looks pretty weird if it's all the way down, so I'm gonna keep that up. Again, with the orange, that'll affect his skin tone. Won't touch that either, and so forth. And Rogue is done. So for the fourth edit I'm going to do, it is a variation of Rogue, and I just created this a couple weeks ago, and it's called Warm Rogue. As the title implies, it is a warm version of the Rogue preset, and I like to put it as Blaze and Rogue mixed together. So again, the first thing I'm gonna do, bump up the exposure so that I can get detail in the background. Tone down his highlights so that his face is not blown out. Bump up your shadows. Blacks are already crushed, so I'm not going to touch that. The S curve is there already. I'm not going to touch that either. Black and white mix, not going to touch. For the most part, this is very similar to Rogue, as you can see here. Again, it's personal preference whether or not you like the cooler version or the warmer version of Rogue. It's all up to you. And for the last edit, number 5. This isn't 5, this is 10. Number 5, it is Zombify. And again, if you guys have not seen my previous video talking about my presets, you need to check that out. Zombify is the most over-the-top, color saturation all the way up. Everything's super exaggerated. And this, you gotta use wisely because it does not work with every photo. And again, it's up to your interpretation. A lot of people might not like it, but art is subjective and it's your art. You do whatever the heck you want. This is Zombify applied to the photo itself. And for me personally, I love the blown out highlights with Zombify. And again, that's personal preference, but for me, the highlights when they're blown out with this preset, it just exaggerates everything. It looks really cool. I'm going to tone down the greens just because I don't like how it's showing on his sleeve. So I'm going to the saturation tool and tone the greens down. And now it's looking a lot better. I'm also going to be toning down the blue as well so that on his shirt, it just looks muted instead of just like a whole bunch of colors. And as you can see here, there is some colorization, and that is probably the teal color. So I'm also going to bring teal all the way down, and it was the teal. The next thing we're going to do is tone down highlights just a tad bit, bring up exposure and shadows, and highlights down one more time, and this image is done. So let's go back to the first preset I used, Blaze. Again, this is the warm, timeless look that I love. The second version is Bliss. Highlights your teals, your blues, makes those colors pop. Third one I used was Rogue. Super 90s Vogue feel. Again, I love this preset. My favorite black and white preset. Next one is Rogue, but the warm version, so Warm Rogue. Again, same thing as the previous, just warmer tones. And Zombify, the over-the-top, wacky, crazy colors, crazy highlights, crazy photo in general. that's it for today's video. I hope you guys learned that you don't have to do just one edit on one photo. You can do multiple edits and send them to your clients and see which ones they like. Always express yourself, never limit yourself. If you want to edit a photo 10, 20 different times, go ahead. Just try to narrow it, because it's a little much. Again, my Lightroom presets are for sale on my website, jsierravisuals.com. Under the presets section, you can purchase that for $8 and get your hands on these presets. Appreciate the love and support on the channel. Again, we hit 1,000 subs the last video. Keep subscribing, turn on the notification bell to be notified for future videos. Merch will be coming soon. Hopefully I can get that running. Like, comment what I should be doing next. Comment which one's your favorite preset, which one's your favorite edit. Until next time, peace.